How are we doing? As promised, I'm here, man. Valentine's come, Valentine's gone. No more do I have to play nice to the wifey. You know what I mean? I didn't even get no chocolates, you know. Yeah, not that chocolate, yeah, not that chocolate. I get a little something else, you know. I get a little friend of mine, yeah. I gave her my hands. I gave her a foot massage. Come on, man. Come on, man. Give a brother some props. Give a brother some props. Give a brother some props. You don't know how easy it is, you know what I mean, to give somebody a foot rub. But how are we doing, people? How are we doing? Thanks for joining me. Thanks for joining me. As you know, our guests today are pioneers in their own right. Without a shadow of a doubt, we're gonna go behind the scenes. We're gonna take a look at them, find out a little bit more. Find out a little bit more. I mean, I'm hoping that you guys got questions for these guys tonight, you know. Don't make you get this opportunity to ask them anything you want. They said, ask me anything, anything. They say you can ask them anything. Yeah, you heard me right, Judy. Foot massage. You get a foot massage last night? Yeah? Never get no foot massage, did you? You got your chocolates, though. Or you most probably baked a cake, yeah? But you never get no foot massage. Talk the truth. Talk the truth. Eh? Patricia, did you get a foot massage last night? I have to ask. Look at that. Patricia was one of the first in the room, you know. Patricia, what eager you see? Liz, how you doing, babes? I'll mention it again. Men have a Valentine's date too, you know. Yeah, it's true. Well, pray tell, what did you get your man? Oh dear, blank screen, blank screen. Blank screen, Liz. Blank screen, darling. What did you get your man? Ladies, you'll be interested to know if you got your man anything yesterday. Do you know what I mean? Because Valentine's is meant to be a two-way thing. Look up the 4th of March. Bad gal, bad gal, bad gal. That's why this is a big people's room. You understand? This is big people's room. Yeah? But ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce my guests. Watch upon them now. Watch upon them now.
Yes, really. Good evening.
Evening.
Good evening, Emil, and good evening, Dale. Did you notice I did not use the stage name tonight? I did not.
They're still our names. Yeah. Jefferson is still my name. Whitfield is still his name. They're not pseudonyms or anything like that. They're actually our real names.
Whereas I decided to take a pseudo name, you know. I actually went for the pseudo name. I mean, I wasn't going to tell people my real name. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's dangerous when you give out people your real things. Ain't that right, Whitfield?
Well, yes, it's
and plus social service and plus social service and plus social services will find you when you got your real name out there. Where is this guy? Oh, that's his name.
The tax man.
I don't know, Ross. Because Whitfield, Emil, you are difficult to find on the Facebook.
That's right. I know. Trust Babylon systems. See?
Yeah, trust Babylon system.
You know what it is? I mean, I'm just about getting into WhatsApp and using all the apps and for banking and stuff like that. Because, you know, I was mortified when they stopped taking cash at the bank and you had to do all your remote banking. I'm hardcore just about getting converted.
Okay. When was the last time you received a check?
It might have been from you, actually.
was it that long ago? Me?
Yeah.
No, that's a good point. I think my bank sent me a checkbook. Was the last time I received a bunch of checks, but that's it. That's it. I have a card. I didn't ask them for a tap and go card, and they gave me that. So yeah.
There's quite a few hellos coming in for you, by the way. One's coming in from Claire.
Hello, Claire.
Yes, that's right. You got to address these.
Good evening, Julie.
Good evening, Julie Juice.
Julie Juice. That's not like a pseudonym.
Or it could be a pronoun.
Oh, the juice. Well, you know what they say. The bigger the berry, the sweeter the juice. Julie is somebody who actually bakes cakes.
Okay.
She bakes the finest of cakes, man.
She must have been really busy over the weekend or leading up to the weekend then.
I can imagine. I can imagine her and cakes on over the weekend, because I noticed that you've been eating a few pies yourself, haven't you, Sam?
Yeah. You know. Oh Lord, that's the shirt don't stay good there at all.
I wasn't sure if that was a reflection of the ball, right? And the light bouncing.
No, that's not me. That's a wrong one, man.
I think that's the photograph rolled. That's what it is. You see the light reflecting across there. It's the lens.
That's what you call a rubber ring, Taraj.
Hey, no, man.
Are you a bit of a swimmer? Are you a bit of a swimmer? Is that what it is? Do you swim?
Well, me, yeah, I swim, but of late, since the lockdown, I'm cycling quite a bit. I cycle in the morning, first crack of dawn with the mad people, and then in the evenings again.
Okay. Because that was us actually watching you as a referee, if I'm correct.
Oh yeah, I think that was probably one of the cup finals, because I do men's football at pretty high standard actually. I used to referee on the Ryman League.
You know, so high standard, ladies and gentlemen. He crowbarred in the word high standard.
Yeah, oh yes.
And he's not talking about his activity, one of them Gladys ref running around waving flag. He means on a high level league, just in case.
No,
I know you like.
Anyway, know what football I'm talking about. But anyway, I do the game and then rush up and then go and do a gig.
Okay, because I mean that was one of the first thing I noticed when we was doing the pre-interview, that you were actually upset that you couldn't actually get on your bike. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because Dale was chatting for ages and I couldn't, and it ate into my cycling time. Yeah.
So if you play that back, he was the one who was talking. He just confused. He was confused. Confused.com.
When you reach a certain age, that's what happens.
Yeah.
What?
You get confused.
Sorry, Emil. I didn't mean to say that. I do apologize.
No, it's good.
But gentlemen, it's been a year now and we've been on lockdown.
Yeah.
Has lockdown affected either of you?
Well,
in what way?
Well, the thing is that for me, the industry totally collapsed.
Yeah.
So you know, I'm 100% in the frying pan when it comes to stand-up comedy.
Yeah. I mean, I noticed some of the youngsters, you know, they're into the alternative forums and stuff, and we don't. But the lockdown is a killer, absolute killer.
But we never gave up our day jobs. That's the thing. Right. So for us, the bills are still getting paid.
Whitfield is still hiding behind the facade of, you know, being this pioneer comedian, yeah. And he's not letting you in. He's not letting you in yet. He's not letting you in. It's like we have to drop down the ice wall to get in. You know
we used to turn up at gigs and people would see our cars and go, "Who's your agent?" We used to tell them we said it was 9 to 5.
That's right.
We're funny, but we're not that funny.
No, you are. You're extremely funny. There's no question about that. That is without question. But the thing is that like I said, you guys were not 100. It wasn't something that you kind of like said, right, the comedy is my career. I mean, you do other things. I mean, Dell, I think you're electronics. Is it electronics?
Electronics, but IT solutions, sort of a business development and sales manager.
So what you mean?
I sell IT solutions.
Oh, so you're a salesman, in other words?
No, I sell solutions, which is slightly different than knocking on the door saying, "You're some double glazing, mate." It's slightly different to that.
And how long have you been doing that? How long was that?
I've been in IT forever. When I left school, I was. You're right. I did electronics, so I was repairing the computers, and then I went in started to sell in the solutions around IT infrastructure, storage, cloud, all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to kind of bore people in that.
No, you're not boring people. People don't know. I mean, for you, it's like it's what you do every day, so you don't see it as no biggie. But as far as people who watch you, they all they know you for is stand up. That, you know, and seeing you on TV and seeing you on the theaters and seeing you in the art centers and what have you. Yeah. But in terms of you actually having to get up early, leave late, do you get me? And then get up early again. They don't know you that way.
No, I suppose we always did that, I suppose, because we've always had responsibilities and looked after those responsibilities. So we weren't in the situation where we were living in our mum's house and say, "Mum, I'm going into entertainment. I'm going to Holly. I'm going to Cricklewood."
We had bills to pay.
We had bills to pay. It wasn't that situation. And I suppose that the thing is, without trying to be facetious or trying to be conceited, we kind of set a standard on what we wanted to do. So, you know, I mean, I didn't leave my mum's house to go and live in a room with my sister. Do you know what I mean? We kind of set our stall out. So we had sort of both had responsibilities that you couldn't necessarily. Sorry.
I left my mum away.
Yeah, I remember those days. when you invited me around and told me to sit down, I'm going, where? It's good job I was young, because you could cross your feet and sit down. You know what I mean?
It just reminds you of assembly, innit? But those are to me, those are the good old days before you get all the white and the brown goods, because you're working towards something, you're building something.
That's
you
right.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not saying it was easier, but it was the house prices were a lot less, and I suppose you had the opportunity to make a mistake, so people could start at 18, reset at 19, reboot at 30. Nowadays, you can't really do that. You know what I mean? You got to get it right from the off.
Oh dear! I've just seen a comment from Natasha Vigili, and she says donut, and I think she was referring to when you was playing the football. You know, I'm not sure. It just says donut.
Oh, donut. Oh, okay. I've got the lockdown to get back. The season will soon start back up. I've got a little time to work it up, get back into shape.
But her name is Natasha Vigiali.
Yeah,
no, I'm pronouncing her name right. No, I'm saying it really that way. Vigiali.
Nah, don't hold back on them enough, because when them open their mouth, they're not easy at all. Trust me.
Natasha Vigialis.
Yeah, they ain't easy at all. Denise is saying good evening to you individually.
Oh, geez, when they call your name, they know you. How you doing?
They know you.
Yeah, but how does that feel? How does that feel for you guys when people, because some people have seen you maybe 30, 40, 50, even 60 times, yeah? And then they come up to you and they talk to you like they know you. How does that?
That was kind of the issue was that we were both myopic. So like, and the funny thing was, I used to send people over to Emil and say, go and say to him hello, and go like you know him really good, and watch him pretend he's going. But we both wear glasses, so we don't really see good. So it was kind of an issue. We had to kind of.
Not back then.
Yeah, you had contact, but
some people. Yeah, there's a difference, like you say, really. When people come and say hi, and sometimes they
Cosmo,
big up.
Go on, Cosmo. What's the rest of that fee from the gig you booked us on?
Yeah. You know, Cosmo got money from me as well. You know, Cosmo got money from me. I'll be selling some. What is it? He said he was going to turn some VHSs into DVD and create a black library, a film library.
Cosmo's good people, but I got to tell you, let me tell you my story when I first met Cosmo. So we were doing a weekender somewhere, we were performing, and he brought Cosmo along. And so, you know, you have your personal razor thing that you're shaving yourself with, so you don't need to disinfect that, it's yours. And I'm looking for that, and his friends got my thing that I'm putting on my face and scraping up his skin with it. Don't even know the man's last name yet. I didn't even know his name.
I've been around with Cosmo, you know, and he's been in my hotel room. And when I come back,
we know him good now.
I just wear my underpants. I'm like, black.
That sounds like Cosmo.
And you know what? And he's so nice. You can't even get mad with him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
Emil dark him up, and I actually felt bad to say, no, finish it.
I was in his phone already. And he was in his foot. He was doing sport, shaving up his foot in the sauna. But here what?
Yeah.
That man gave
Good people.
Yeah, when we were gigging and stuff, he could hook us up with some stuff and make us look like money when it comes
to. So we'd go to gigs. He used to give us drink and stuff. So we'd turn up on stage with a couple of bottles of wine, put plank on the stage, and Cosmo used to hook us up, man. Yeah.
Cosmo give me a dumpling, blood. That's all Cosmo give me.
Cosmo used to give us some Chardonnay, Pinot Grigio, and all that.
Yeah.
I don't even think Cosmo gave me a patty. I know he gave me a dumpling, but I don't remember giving me a patty.
That's the one he probably used to prop his door open with as well. That hard one.
So when did you guys actually start? Let's move towards where you're actually coming from. Do you know what I mean? Because there's quite a history behind you, isn't there?
That's him giving his first sermon in the church when he was saved, washed by the blood. Amen.
Oh, glory be to God.
My first performance.
But like the singers, we come from the church.
Yeah.
And like the older folk and that generation knew, if you keep doing what you do, you're going to end up backsliding.
Oh God.
That's the London Community Gospel Choir. That's where we met.
So Emil's the one if you're looking at the photograph,
dead in the middle.
There's four guys at the top. He's dead in the middle. The one miming.
With the afro.
The one with the afro? He's got.
Yeah. No, the other one. So if you go in
next
from
to the guy, because the three of them got afro.
So he's the one in the middle.
Okay. So that's Emil.
And I'm at the one at the end without the afro. I got a little.
You look like you got curly perm or something, man.
Yeah, no, we all had curly perms. It was church boys, man. That's what you went with: curly perm and white shoes.
Okay. So it all basically started in the church for you guys.
Yeah. We both grew up in the church. My dad was a pastor. Mm-hmm. You know, my mum was the pianist in there, and so that's how my first performance was in Church of God in Christ, Cranfield Road. I had my recitation was "Speak, Lord, for Thy servant heareth." So I remember getting on stage. I was reciting it backwards at home. I was even doing it in a foreign language. When I got up stage, I saw the recitation leave me and walk out the door, and I was left there watching the audience, and they gave me the normal "Bless him, Lord, bless him, bless him."
That's the photo shoot, isn't it? From the album, the LTG.
Yeah, when we did "Fill My Cup, Lord." So we're both framing at the very back there. That's me with hair.
I noticed. And that's is that Basil in the middle there?
Yeah.
Basil. Yeah.
Brother.
Want to say a big shout out to the guy standing just in front of me, Ian, good friend of ours. He's not being too well. I want to say a big shout out to him.
Is he friend? Getting the COVID?
No. He's just not well. But he's a good friend of ours. Do you know what I mean? He's a sort of family. He's his cousin and he's a good friend. We just want to say hearts go out to him and big up Ian.
Patricia is saying that you two are backsliders from what she's saying. She said, I don't know why.
So obviously,
no, that's your sister. It looks like your sister. You know that? Is that your sister?
Days.
Is that your sister?
I can't see that.
Downer.
Is that your sister?
Is that your sister, Ian? Is that your sister, Neil?
It looked like my sister.
It looks like your sister.
But my sister.
No, you see, the thing is like when we were growing up, a big emphasis was made on you had to go to church, had to go to every Sunday. Now people at home reading their Bible, you know, watching Sunday morning service from their TV. So all of a sudden you can do that. But to be honest, the principles has never left us anyway.
No, I understand that because I think as we've got older, if I'm right, you guys can correct me because me's a definite backslider. Yeah, is that the relationship became more personal as opposed to a community. You had to be in the community environment, i.e., you've got to be in the church with the people. Then it became more of a spiritual, because a lot of people are into spiritualism now, and it's more of a one relationship than it is a congregational thing.
Yeah, but then church was a big thing for our parents' generation. Big
right,
and us growing up as well.
And it obviously set a benchmark for us of that generation with a couple of guidelines and stuff, and it helped.
Right.
And it was also a school for a lot of the things that is still the school in America. So the singers came out of the church, the musicians came out of the church. You know what I mean? If you want to learn to play a Hammond, the best place to learn to play is in the church. You want to learn to play the guitar with someone who sings out of key but habitually asks you to follow them. You can find any song, you can follow any song. So it was still a place that was a good sort of foundation for a route for a lot of people that's come up.
Because I think Misha Parrish and the likes was around you.
Yeah, we grew up. We know all of them.
When you say
Paul
all
Johnson.
of them, I think you've got to give us an idea of who was around you around that time. Like you said,
jazz musician Ronnie Jordan.
Okay, I went to school with Ronnie.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
his sister.
Yeah,
she sang at my wedding actually.
Okay.
Then there's
Misha Parrish, Paul Johnson.
Okay.
These are the way singers.
The Wade brothers.
The Scoffreys.
I mean, we was talking to Eshe only on Saturday. Eshe Scoffrey on Saturday. She's due to
sisters.
That's right. Yeah, she's due to release a new EP that'll be coming out pretty soon. But then you mentioned that one of the artists played at your wedding. So how long have you been married now, Emil?
Well, we are over. You put me on 30 years now.
Rotted.
It's over 30 years.
So that must have been quite a strain.
It was and is.
Yeah.
It was. I can't lie. We can't lie. It was because I'm straddling the church,
right?
Straddling home and stuff, and the world with all the trimmings.
Yeah, which is what I gathered that, but that's not really where I'm going, to be honest with you. Because where I'm going is in terms of the travel and the time away.
Was mad.
You understand what I'm saying?
And the gigs that sometimes it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
That's what I'm talking about.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Thursday, Friday, and those are the times when stuff needs to get done in the house.
But the other thing is we were as far as our kids who were young, I suppose we kind of, people always saw us together because we used to play squash. Obviously, Emil played at a higher level, I did, but we used to bring our kids along to play squash with us. So they'd be in a court. If we had like the park day events, we'll take them to the park events. Some of the events we had were like weekenders. We'd take the kids, pack them all into our
because we never see them. You're not
going to see them in the
true.
blues and the dance.
Because I never really thought. I would always meet you lot at the venue. I would always meet you.
We'd go there. If they're in the trailer, so we obviously when we're not doing the thing, we'd be out playing with them in the day.
At the time as well, so
so they kind of looked after everybody. So now we had a kind of, in a way that I suppose they came along when it was possible to do so. It's a lot of things.
And then it got intense, and obviously they couldn't come because it wasn't that kind of environment. Especially when we started to certainly do the alternative circuit.
Okay, no, I hear that. I mean, the behavior is totally different to the way black people behave, because I find that black audiences are very, very conservative in comparison.
Oh yeah.
To the mainstream audiences in the way that they do behave.
Yeah,
but which is
kind of good, because I think it has a bearing on.
That's right, Denise.
Church was a good foundation. It did it for me a lot, and you could stay grounded. It kept you focused, and back then as well, it was the whole village mentality. The village could raise you. The village could have an input on your child. And like you said, if we went to a gig and it was a convention of some sort, we could leave the kids with strangers because they all have that similar mindset. Obviously, when we started to do the alternative circuit, and it was
that's what I'm saying. It started to get a bit different. So begin to start telling us a bit about your journey, because I didn't meet you until Deptford, the Albany. And that was when that was David
Bryant.
Oh yeah,
David Bryant did a show, and who was on the bill? It was us, Felix, and
Leo.
Curtis and Ishmael. Leo.
Leo.
Curtis and Ishmael. That was the first time we'd seen Curtis and Ishmael.
Was Angie on it?
No,
Angie,
it was just.
I don't remember.
No, it wasn't Angie. It was just us,
I
and that was.
don't know. You don't remember this name? Mark with an X.
Ish. I'm not sure.
Yes.
Mark with an X. He used to wear like a beaver hat.
Yes.
Yeah.
But obviously, he was doing stuff on the alternative circuit.
No. But he didn't start. He didn't start with us.
On the alternative
No
way.
He didn't do the work to turn the circuit. But I do remember him. But I'll have to talk to you offline about that. But I do remember him.
Okay. Yeah, there's no way that he would. There's no.
No, he didn't do the turn circuit. He did a small gig with us. I think he did Pamela's with his. He was the people that had his guy going. Yeah, go on.
Was it Mark?
It was him, and then he did the Hackney Empire, and his friends. Obviously, there's 1,500 people there. There's 10 people couldn't be heard. But yeah, no, I remember him again. As I said, it was a lot of people got inspired to try a genre of expressing themselves in a way that they hadn't seen before, that was relative and poignant to something that we could have related to.
Yeah, but you see, the other thing is, I thought back then as well, that they were the black audience, as it were prepared to hear stuff from, say, an American comedian,
right,
as opposed to our own,
a British,
our own, and so
we had no films or nothing like that out for them to relate to, did we?
No. And then there was some being a little bit edgy.
Apart from what? Black Beauty. That's all we had.
No. I was going to say Black Joy.
Black Joy. That was an American film.
No, it wasn't. It was a film that starred Norman Beaton.
With Norman Beaton. What you bring to this partnership? What you do in your partnership? Black Joy. Remember? Yeah, no, Black Joy was That had everybody in that. Yeah, I think. I suppose if you want to start to a point, when we started, it was more or less more of a kind of kin to saying, why don't we go out there and talk about the conversations we have when we're standing together, the things that we relate to, that our family relate to, our friends relate to, that we probably wasn't hearing talking about. So you Les Dawson did To Our Women that we had no real reference to. Yeah. So why don't you do women that reflect our parents, because our parents are not their parents. So we started off, it sounds really a pure thing to do, but it was to entertain our own on subject matter that we can relate to. We didn't do it because we wanted to sort of be known, and also to get in the clubs free, because we didn't have to pay to rate. We fell into it really. I mean, it was a hobby. It was doing our stuff within the church community, and then I think Natasha asked, what do you mean by the alternative circuit? It's the white circuit, the white clubs, the white gigs. And we started out in the church doing functions, concerts, church wine festivals, green belt, and all the big festivals, and slowly trickled over into the alternative. Yeah.
We actually started off doing rap.
We didn't say this is what we want to do, and we're going to make a living from it. This is like the profession, like we want to make our own, like some of the youngsters coming up now.
Because I mean, at the time, we know that that Dale was into electronics. And what were you doing at the time yourself?
Law. I've been involved in criminal in law for a long time, for the longest time, on legal exec. So I've always had that firm hold in my work and my commitment to work.
Mm-hmm. So what happens when you see a brother that you know? Or has that never happened?
That's happened. I mean, because remember, I used to do like 90% of my work used to be criminal work. And I used to go in police station and bail guys out and be to court and represent and stuff. And I'd go to a function, it'd be a nice function, either at Shannola's, Bel Air, or wherever the place was. And the brother would come up to me and say, yo, my brief, blah, 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 and such and such. Yeah.
So just to address something he said, because he said 90% of his work was criminal work, but he worked for a law firm that was a law firm of colour. So there would obviously the clients would reflect what the right one was.
The firm that I worked at, the client base was predominantly black.
Yeah,
West,
So
from Harlem.
Oh, my ends.
Yeah. They had an office there.
You're my friend, them.
All over. We had I worked with a guy called Solomon, God rest his soul. He was it's the solicitor from St. Lucia. Sorry, St. Kitts, the same.
St. Kitts.
And his office was the only office. We were the only black office in central London at the time. So a lot of the old school criminal them used to like the idea of coming to central London to sit and lawyer.
And so did they at that time? I mean, your profile is starting to grow, but were they aware of what you were doing?
Not really. As I say, there was one time I got busted. I was in a top 5 firm in central London, and I think we did the gig, either the first one or the second one. Did the gig on did the 291, and you know a lot of people like to watch it, not only black but the white like to watch, because of how the people used to carry on and boo the artists. Yeah,
but also you got to remember it was the first.
It was the first and only.
It was the first. So
very first.
Because it was the first.
Everybody
was watching it.
Absolutely, and everyone was watching it. I had no reason to think that my colleagues at work would be watching it, let alone the caretaker of the whole building. And he'd seen it the night before, seen it over the weekend. And I came into the office on the Monday, and he took a star. He had a star, and he put it on my office door. And everyone kept on coming. And what's that about? And I said, no. And he kept on walking past the period and winking. Don't worry, you'll see the safe with me. So, yeah,
that is a nice story, man. That is a because I mean, it's not often. Hello, babe. It's not often that we are able to rub shoulders, so to speak, with people who we would have seen on TV. Do you know what I mean? I mean, for me to rub shoulders with Norman Beaton would have been like, oh my God, I've just passed the king. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas, like, for a lot of the mainstream people who were on circuit, they could have brushed past them every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In that respect, you guys just are like a rarity. But then the thing is that we're talking about Deptford, right? Which was like the Albany, as I recall it. It was experimental, as you said. Stereotype was going through there, better known as Dibby.
Oh yes, Stereotype, yeah.
Dibby was going through.
Came
out. Yeah. They came slightly afterwards, if I'm right, Del.
Slightly afterwards, yeah, it did.
They sort of slightly came afterwards, but then David Bryant, right? You mentioned that name, but we also got to start bringing in the names Ian Thompson.
Ian Thompson, yeah.
So tell us about Ian Thompson.
But David was actually Ian Thompson superseded David in the same art centre. I think they both worked for the same for Brixton. Yeah. David worked for there, and then David sort of moved on and doing it. So David Bryant was the first one. He was. I mean, I remember because like within the church we went by our first names, Dale and Emil, and he wanted to book us for the Albany, and we didn't have a name, and we didn't want to say Dale and Emil because we'd have the church brethren come along with the Bible tambourine and look like they're holding service. So we didn't want to call us. We didn't want to call ourselves like Salt and Pepper and people hailing you out. Well, I'm Pepper.
And then also, Dale and Emil sounded too much like Curtis and Ishmael.
Okay.
So, well, we'll just use our middle names and run with that.
And that was not even. That was just so that we can sign a contract. It wasn't because we thought about it. It was saying let's just put our middle names, Chuck.
And then Ian, to be fair, Ian then took the baton and ran with it. He started to put on comedy shows and the like with Felicity, with Wendy, Felicity, and a couple of others. And it just
you've jumped. You've gone from you've missed out St. Matthews. You mentioned
so the Brixton. Yeah.
The Miles. Because Miles.
Miles Crawford. Yeah.
No, the first time we saw Miles was at the 291 Club. Never seen him before, and I was just blown away, to be honest. Do you know what I mean? Because he again, it was a different type of comedy, and he obviously been working it for a while, so he was proficient. He was slick in what he was doing. Do you know what I mean? And again, it was a different.
It was totally. I remember Miles taking out a skull to Rotted. Right.
Yeah.
And what's in the box? What's in the box?
Yeah. What's in the box? I've got lots in the box. Yeah.
So going back to Ian, when Ian said, first of all, Ian put it in our head to do a show, and then going on from that, he put it in our head to do a pantomime, and we did. And and obviously by then we knew, obviously we know Angie, we know.
Yeah, but you've just now mentioned Angie, yeah. But I've got something here. Hold on a second.
But we'd been working with Angie from like years before that. We used to do the nightclubs with her, and we'd all be standing aside stage waiting for the DJ to stop playing the music, and they always wanted to have that DJ mic. Next, we're going to come in on the stage, to comedians. Jefferson and Whitfield, and Angie Lamar.
Because there's Emil and Angie, if I'm correct.
Yeah,
and Kwame.
And Helen. I mean, that was a play I worked in with Angie and the Bomaro sisters, and then I think Helen directing it, and Kwame was part of the production team as well. And I was the only male cast in that small production. I remember going out and doing a scene actually at one stage, and my flies was undone for the whole of the scene. The whole of the scene. Luckily, it was just me. Not down there.
I think if my flies were undone, people would have noticed, you know.
Well, there was one of those party type functions where the people sat really close, and somebody at the front was discreetly trying to tell me.
Okay.
And only when I finished my scene, I think, and I went back to the changing room, and I got the message, and I went, oh, and after that, I just couldn't move. Right. So I was just mortified.
I can imagine.
And then you have to go back out there and do the next bit. You know what I mean?
Mm.
But then what that dance does is make you a bit self-conscious. So every minute you're tapping and checking.
You're checking.
And checking.
So tell us about the cabaret days.
The cabaret days was again, it was like it was
kind
of innovative for it was like Miles.
After the 291, and we had nowhere to go. We as entertainers, as performers, we had nowhere to go, and cabaret came.
That was Miles. Miles had the thing locked, and it was a nice vibe. It was a Tuesday, and you had black folk going out on a Tuesday like it was Friday. It was just like it was a bank holiday Friday at that. It was a good vibe. It was a good. Oh my days! What's the suits, man?
That's in church. We actually, as I said, I'm trying to tell you earlier on. We actually started doing rap. That's how we started.
Yeah, but cabaret was a good little outlet for young comedians at that time anyway. Because remember, like Dale was saying, we would work the nightclubs, and the nightclubs would have the music and various acts. Lloyd Brown and them man, they're standing at the side to do PAs. Yeah, and then we would have to fill in between that, or if there was a fashion show of sorts, we'd have to fit. And Chanel
initially, if you remember, Emil, when we did the nightclubs,
when Miles had cabaret, it was purely for comedy.
Yes.
No, it had singers there as well.
Not used to come in though. It's true they did.
Singers, but they singers there. Comedians.
Because all what's his name? Me love me says yes, me love me says come follow me. Me love me says me say yes, me love it. He was all there.
It was a cabaret evening.
Yeah.
It was a cabaret evening. It was singing, comedy, poetry.
It was everything.
It was everything.
You know, I mean, Miles did mix it up, but then, like you said, then you started to branch into the clubs, because around there, that's where Mr. Edwards, Hugh,
John Smith.
Yes, John Smith.
Yeah.
But Hugh was on the back of the Black. No, that again was the Black Comedy Club with Dave Bryant putting shows up at the base. The Black Comedy Club was at the base. So we had went there. Yeah. So Dave Bryant was booking initially for the base.
And then John started to work.
John kind of took it over. He was like the main face down there.
And because of John, we knew Birmingham like the back of our hand. The whole of the Midlands, we knew it like the back of our hand. And this was the days before satellite and sat navs. But we had to use A to Z, and then no way But John, because of John, we knew the Midlands and gigged hard up there as well.
Because I've got a very old poster. I can't pull it out now of the cave in Birmingham.
Yes, it was the cave first, and then the drum. Yeah, it was the cave.
Yeah.
The cave.
Yeah.
The cave. That was it.
A very old photograph. A poster, not a photograph. I got a poster of the cave. I think it was you, Angie, and possibly that's when oh God, we just mentioned there Marcus and Jeff Amer and Powell.
Stereotype, I think they were.
No, I'm talking Amer and Powell.
Okay, Amer and Powell. Yeah.
The Golden Sisters in the Real McCoy.
Yeah.
I kick you in your catches.
Yeah.
You remember that scene there?
Yeah, yeah. John used to have us up there. John used to have us up there in the cave every Christmas for a back-to-back for the longest one. And there used to be one particular guy up there. He was a Trinidadian, and he used to make rum. And his thing was to try and get me drunk, which was easy. Because you have to remember, we left work and would hit the motorway real quick, not get anything to eat, and get on stage in time to work. And then, wow, this man would hit me with the rum. And the rum is the kind of rum punch that would drunk you before you drink it. You know that one there.
Okay.
Birmingham was nice, man. John Smith was.
So what you should ask Rudi, did the man succeed in getting him drunk? Ask him that.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
I got white boy wasted.
No, he didn't get. He got wet, and we had to go to Manchester the next day. So I think it was the last show they'd ever done, and we were brought there to perform, and I think it was sweet. Apparently the rum, and he was going, "This is nice, man. This is nice." And then we went outside to go to another club, and like air hit him, and it was like all of a sudden he changed to a different person.
Whacked me out.
That's what always happens, man. When you start, because I mean, when you start doubling up, and because are you guys drinkers? Are you drinkers naturally? You're not naturally drinkers?
No, I'm teetotal. I've never drank.
Teetotal. I'll have a drink. And you know when you do the circuit,
have a drink. Have a drink. You'll have a drink.
Yeah.
You'll have a drink.
In fact, let me just
go-to word. Emil, just go tell him your go-to word because he's making like it. He goes, "Are you gonna drive?" Because I want to get lagered.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was good.
Yeah.
But he doesn't drink, period. So he was always the designated adult. So that was good.
Yeah.
So I remember one time we was driving back from Birmingham, and do you remember Rude Mercs?
In Bethnal Green, yeah.
In Bethnal Green, there were guys who used to kind of soup up some customize some cars, and he had his Rude Mercs. We was driving home, and I don't think we stayed. I think we just wanted to get home or something. I think we might have had something to do. So I'm driving home, and I had proper dozed off. And the guy in front of me was driving, and I could see him looking in his mirror. And I kind of woke up just in time as I was veering off. And I parked on the lay-by, and he woke up and goes, "What's the matter?" I said, "I'm tired, man." He goes, "Oh, I'll drive." He didn't even realize how close I came to writing off his beloved Mercedes. But we had God on our side those times. You know what I mean? We had people praying for us. My mum. You know what I mean? Get us there. Remember the time you used Ian in his MG? Can't you remember when you woke up and he was sleeping?
Yeah.
Sleeping.
Anyway. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying. What I'm saying is we put so much miles on the road and never had an accident. We put a lot of miles. I mean, we were driving up and down the motorway that we kind of, as you said, we knew our way around Midlands, Manchester, Leeds, you know, all those kind of places were formed, and got there and back safely.
Because this might sound a little bit weird, but it's not in actual fact. It's since 1992, right, up until the lockdown, I've never spent 2 weekends at home.
Yeah, it can be like, you know, it's feast and famine, but then when it's mad, you that's it. Your gigging is going. But you know, if that's what you do 24/7, that's fine. But when you have your regular job, it's a toll. And then obviously you start to spread it and be a little bit choosy. And because obviously I suppose we have our regular jobs, we could not pick and choose, but choose.
You can't be out of London every single weekend. You had to kind of manage it, like max 2 weekends, you know, out of London, and the rest would do something in London.
Yeah, but I think as a double act, I mean, that's where the compromise has to come in on your part. I mean, I never had to think about, other than my wife Jen, Do you know what I mean? It was just a case of, well, Beard been gone. Whereas, as you said, you're married. Did you get married, Dale?
Yeah, young.
Married,
yeah.
What age did you get married?
21.
Raw, that is proper young, man.
22. I was a church boy. That was the thing you did then. You know what I mean? So it was just how it went.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy because again, you didn't have mobile phones. You know what I mean? You had to go and find a coin box or. Oh,
just like the Lovers Rock story that we saw the other day, where we saw them outside the phone box and waiting for that.
Yeah, that small thing.
Yeah. A bit like that.
We've done gigs in a room like that.
I think it's joke. Where you can feel their breath on your face. You can feel their breath on your face.
Yeah.
I mean, I was gonna actually ask you where was the weirdest place you ever did a gig. Do you know what I mean? And then once I saw that, I was like, oh my God, what is he doing in there? What are you doing in there?
And coming to the ring. He hails from Bethnal Green.
Okay. Yeah, but you're kind of up close and personal, man. Like,
yeah, but I'm not gritting my teeth. I'm serious with the photograph. You know what I mean? I'm not smiling and happy. You know what I mean?
It's like you want to fight, but you're not dressed to fight.
Hell no. I mean, after I see some of those guys take lick, I'm glad I was in the Money in the suit.
Listen, mate. I'm the water boy as far as boxing is concerned. I will tell you what to do. Coming out.
And one of the things they don't tell you is when you sit by the ring, if a man get cuffed in his face, you get splat. You get splattered. Yeah, they don't tell you that. So whoa, you get splattered.
So tell us what was you like? What were you two like at school? What were you like? I mean, were you the jokers? Were you the guys who was picked on? Were you the guys who had to fend off people with the comedy? Because I mean,
we're both similar in terms of the role we played. It was kind of eerie when I saw him with his people and how they reacted to him. It was in my circles we had the same thing, so we were similarly. You know, the first time I think I saw him do his thing, it was like we were at a party, and you were reading a story. But you was reading it in I think a Bajan accent or something, and everybody was like harping onto his words. So that it was similar kind of thing. So I did plays in my church. I know he's done his plays. He played the guitar, the piano. He played the Hammond. I played the guitar. So we had a similar kind of part. So it was kind of easy.
I don't know.
To hang around.
I don't know. I can't remember. It's so long ago since I was at school, but. Right. I certainly know that I wasn't one that was the jokey one, but I could, I'd have a laugh. I was very much into sports and stuff, and music up to a point. Back in the day, back in them days, you talk about Prerelease and who had this tune and have you heard this tune and all that kind of thing. So yeah, I was a regular. I like to think I was a regular, nice enough person. And when I have bumped into some of my school friends who then say, "Oh, Emil, you're da 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 da," they're surprised, but not surprised, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be picked on, and I wouldn't be one to have to make jokes to get out of a situation.
Mm-hmm.
But I could handle myself still.
Yeah, I mean that's not questioning that at all. It's just that when people talk about the psychology of comedy, they tend to harp on either somebody who's looking for attention, or somebody who's trying to protect their image. Do you get me? Or they're trying to protect. They try to push away the bullies, kind of like.
Well, when you see some of the guys on the circuit, you sometimes, as someone said, it does come across as if they're having it's therapy for them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Especially some of the routines. I mean, they're funny, but they're hardcore. But this is a little bit personal. It's like a release.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, for me, I kind of fell into it. I kind of tripped into it. And then it became expected of me to be able to do one. If somebody's gonna. The MC didn't turn up for a wedding, then Emil, could you just drop in and fill it in and that sort of thing? And I just began to do it. So it was I wouldn't say
a natural progression,
but it happened. It just kind of happened. And it happened and began to get paid. Then It got even nicer.
Because it does seem as though that you're more driven in that direction, Dale. You're more on course in terms of, you know what I mean? Because you're a partnership, and obviously it works. It works. But
I suppose in sales, the kind of role we play. So I would sort of hunt and book, and Emil will look over the contract. Do you know what I mean? And say, okay, let's see if we can do this. So it was. I suppose it's different when you have a situation when someone books you and you go, okay, give me a minute, I'll come back to you. Are you able to do this? And someone ring him and he'll say, yeah, I think so, but you need to ring in to find out if you know what our diaries are like. Do you know what I mean? So it was logistical compromise you kind of had to make. Do you know what I mean? In a sense.
Sometimes, as you say, I think we are leaning to because of my job.
Mm-hmm.
There were some things I couldn't make. I couldn't disappear in the middle of the day. Some of these TV shouts and calls was for the middle of the day, and they would have impacted on my work. Whereas Dale, I suppose, had a bit more flexibility, being an engineer of sorts.
So I was outside anyway. I'm just on the field.
I couldn't go missing because I had cases to work and court attendances to do, bail applications possibly to make. You know, it was just mad. So I had to be a little bit more selective. And I remember one particular time it was a black receptionist, and periodically was working on a project with the BBC, and this person from the BBC kept on calling, and she kept on asking, "What the BBC calling you? What the BBC calling you?" And I was like, "Woman, shut your mouth!" You know, if I did go missing, you didn't want your boss to know that you didn't come in on Monday because you just come back from Scotland.
Okay.
The Monday morning. Do you know what I mean? So you try to keep it under wraps and on the low key. So I perhaps was a bit more being able to say, "Well, I'm sorry, Sid, we can't do that gig, man."
Okay, because I mean, like you said, the BBC did come knocking, and I mean that skit that you did on the on the Real McCoy. Do you know what I mean? I put some of it up, and YouTube took it straight down. They was like, "No, man, that belonged to the BBC. That belonged to." Yeah,
yeah, that makes sense. You know,
we had
that's when he's coming. But you see, I mean, that was one of the projects that we did with the. But again, back then, if it wasn't for certain people like Leo and stuff, we would have got sideswiped on that anyway. So
I heard he kind of put an effort. There you go.
Yeah, Leo made a point of getting us. It was coming. It was me, him. It was us, him, Angie, Felix, Miles. You know, we were part of the hardcore. And
I mean, I do have an image of you guys, but it's not a brilliant one. I'm not really happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, that was
the Barbican.
That's right. It was the Barbican.
Yeah, that was a nice show. That was a very nice. That was by Frank, actually. Frank, who used to run things at the 291.
Frank Sweeney.
Yeah.
The said.
Yeah, that was a nice show, and it was good to see. Not so much just the other artists like that, but the actual people who used to go club then as well, turning up, and some who would go to the clubs as well as go to the shows, the 291s and the stuff, and go to a comedy little club, because there used to be little quaint little caps when folk were trying to organize and have a night in a venue, which the venue would let you have, which was either a Tuesday or a Wednesday when it's quiet. Mm-hmm. And then those nights would become really, really, really popular because people wanted a night of, poetry.
Do you think that the black audiences were neglected then? Because I mean, we never got the venues, as you say, over the weekends, but yet out on the Thursdays, the Wednesdays, and the Tuesdays.
I know Miles was given he built up recognition for a Tuesday. He built it up. That's the only night they gave him, and then they hustled him out of it. Once it started to get full, they think they could put a thing on and get people to come on there.
The Tuesday was dead, and back then round there wasn't as trendy as it is now.
Well, no, you can't. It's not near a tube station. Yeah, it's a hard place to get to.
Shoreditch,
it's a hard place to get to.
Yeah, it was at Shoreditch, and Shoreditch is
around the corner from Night Moves. Yeah,
Night Moves, exactly. And then places, it was nice, but not nice like that. Homerton which was a bit of and then F area was just up the road from there. You know what I mean? So it wasn't nice. But then Miles went there and caned it on the Tuesday, made it nice and really popular, and that's what happened. And then they
changed the rules. They tried to change the goalpost for him after he sort of set it up nice. They'd come there and you'd see them sometimes looking around and the people were well behaved. You know, it wasn't no kind of commotion there, and it was a nice thing.
I think that was, to me, that was like the heyday for me. I mean, even though, I mean, I was getting a rough time, but it's not about me tonight. But to me, it was like the heyday. It was like, because the Hackney Empire just happened, the 291 just happened. We had nowhere else to go, and then we went there on the Tuesday night. Yeah. And then shortly after that, it was like the motorways started calling. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it was up and down and around the country. But then the thing is, as you guys grew, it wasn't as though you needed the mainstream circuit because you started touring yourselves.
Yeah,
let's talk about some of the shows that you guys had people coming out to see you.
The first one we did was in 1994 in Peckham Civic Suite.
Right, so that's only 2 years.
Peckham Civic Suite, and again that was sort of beaten out as by Ian. He wanted us to do a week, and we said, yeah, okay. And then we went home and chat, and we goes, how much people we got to come? We can't get the amount of people. So we ran back and said, no, let's just do 5 days. And then we sat down and we were writing, and we went, that's our whole heap of people. Let's just bring it down to 3 days. We brought it down to 3 days, and then we went, let's just do a night. And by then he went to print, and I think we'd inadvertently signed for the 3 days. He goes, no, you can't cancel it. They're locked in now. Right. And I remember we used to ring up the venue 3 times a day to find out what the ticket allocation was. Because again, it's a weird thing it's the weird thing to put yourself in a situation where people are going to pay money to come and see what you do. It's the enormity of that to think.
Up until that point, I think they'd only pretty much seen us at clubs.
Snippets, you know,
in between the odd artist doing a PA and stuff like that. And so it was a show. Ian said, do a show dedicated to us just doing our stuff, and we did it, and it worked, and it was nice, and it was well received. I just remember it was like one of the first times my mum had come to see us on the secular alternative circuit as stuff. Right. As she said, and everybody who knows me. So people know me as Whitfield. I know where they know me from. People know me as Emil. Again, I know them where they know me from. But if you call me Harris,
right, a lot of mercy.
I know you know me. Yeah. And my mum, I remember my mum said, after the show, she said, "Oh gosh, Harris, the show was really nice, but the French."
Yes, the language. What I found sweet about you guys, yeah, because you lot know me. I go over the line, yeah. You lot know me. That's Rudi. That's why I'm calling him Rudi, yeah. Because I would take it. I would push it just that little bit further and go over the line. Whereas you guys kind of like you take it.
It's just different. Big people. As big people, you can't do things that you used to do when you were in your 20s. It's just sex is different when you're the big people. That's right. For instance, when you were young, you were like that. You know them tools. You go. Even when you finish, you're still moving. Yeah. I still got more left. You ready? When you're big, you start to count. 1, 2. Big peopleism, it changes.
You guys take it there, but you don't. You know what I mean?
Oh, we take it and we pull back, but we a couple of times on the we have kind of don't know, Well, when you get those gigs and they have the hen night and the stag night, it's a madness. You have to match fire with fire. But yeah, in the main, we gauge the audience and we know where we can't go, and we do try and keep it a little bit naughty.
Okay, is that because of all the experience that you've had with the likes of performing at the Royal Albert Hall, with Cliff
It's
Richard.
because people from the church have got a propensity to sometimes recognize what's on the poster and turn up, so you don't really.
Yeah, so we unlike Miss Downer said, we weren't the only one backsliding. When we was out, we saw some of the sister in there who should have been in the club themselves.
We shouldn't have been in there.
You know what I mean? But we can't go on like we don't see them, although they on the stage. We know they was there. We know they was there.
Yeah.
So tell us about.
Then you're at church the next day, bucking the preacher when he's preaching.
Elliot, you know what I mean? Wake up, girl, wake up. The Lord's dead.
Yeah.
All the kids in the mini skirt.
You know you don't
never drink the red wine.
Yeah.
I want you come up yourself on the altar, and I want you bend your knee and pray to the Lord.
Right.
But the thing is, let's talk about Al Green. Let's talk about Paul McCartney. Let's talk about these are guys that people don't know that you've opened up shows for. People don't know.
We work with all of them. We'd work with them, and we do it. And we do it, as I said, because at the time we were kind of one of a handful, if that. And so we had an opportunity to work with these guys. I remember with Al Green, I think he was in his transition period of becoming a minister, and
so it was actually billed as a gospel show.
Yeah.
Right.
And he was singing his song, and he must have backslide momentarily. People were going crazy in the auditorium. This is at the Albert Hall, and he started to take off his shirt, pull up his jacket. Is at that moment we figured this is the wrong show.
Okay.
Yeah, and you know, the Winans and stuff, and
we actually did the support for the Winans when they came over here. We were the support act for them. As I was trying to say, we actually did music, rap, before we got into comedy. So we did the support for the Winans, BB and CC Winan, commissioned. As I said, we headlined the New Wine Festivals, like 5,000 people, just on music, as it were. And some of the musicians we sort of played with went on to sort of support acts like Terence Trent D'Arby, to name, but yeah, so they were like
no, you're not name dropping. They don't know. No, they don't know.
You know
what I mean?
We work with some of the Dennis Brown, all them men there, right? When you, as I say, we were just filling in for those guys. So when we came in, we were just the two comedians. You weren't taken seriously because you were just the comedian or
you're the comic. Yeah. Comedians are seen as the lowest of the low when we started doing the club circuit. Our name was smaller than the person who printed the leaflet. You had to search for our name. We used to go, look, there's our name.
The name wasn't even there because
sometimes
it was clearly an afterthought. Do you know what I mean? He'd gone to print, so it was clearly an afterthought. And it was difficult, but it was fun. And you got paid up to a point. But
the thing what they soon realised, it's hard to follow a comedy act if you're a singer, unless you're like, so you think people are laughing, so you've got the audience participating with you. So what happens is we kind of started to move up the billing list for the PAs, where we started to be, you know, so
it was the clubs. And so, as you said, then we move on to the theatres and start doing the theatres and stuff. And our experience from working in the clubs and working on the timing and knowing who not to upset and who not to talk about. I mean, one time we did that club with Briscoe where the man them in the audience were older than your granddad. And then man back in the day was the man then. You understand? And they're still carrying the swing. So you couldn't go on this and talk them man the hard. And you had to still mind yourself a little bit. Until now, obviously.
But I think our experience knew how to handle them people, because I remember the show you're talking about was in Birmingham, and there was a guy there who was put out because it's like an older person's club, and he was put out because he's obviously the man when those shows happen. He takes the microphone. So Emil was like, first of all, he said, before we start, we have to give big respect, and he called him out, and he went to the barman, put on our tab, get him a double brandy, and the man felt good in his sense after that. But again, where the people who didn't acknowledge him, he was talking through, and one of the acts says, could you want to come and tell a joke? And the guy did, and that was a mistake. He was funny. That was his people. Do you know what I mean?
Is it you asking Natasha's question?
Yes, please.
You guys miss comedy. We still do, but we do more corporate stuff. So the stuff we do is more.
And the thing is, will we do it full time? it's different. Not now. Maybe if we knew what we knew now and saw the way it was going to go, then possibly, yeah. But we're too far down the road, I think. Anyway,
we were offered.
Because the thing is that you guys were actually offered a TV show. Yeah, you lot were approached by Hat Trick Productions. Yeah.
The guys, you know.
Wait, let me just explain to people who Hat Trick Productions is. Yeah, Hat Trick Productions are the people behind the likes of Jack D. Okay. They're behind the likes of William is doing Hale and Paste and all of those kind of people, yeah. And now tell them what happened when you were approached.
So they came to us and they had an idea for a show. So what they did, they gave us a film crew. We're young. They gave us a film crew and they told us to walk around Carnaby Street and just be yourself. So we would be mischievous.
Basically, they wanted us to go around and be all bug-eyed and play.
But initially, when we went in. No, but what I'm saying is what we did when we went out with the film crew, we had fun. We were being ourselves. We went into a sports shop. And the guys had old trainers on, and we said to the boss, how can you have the people selling shoes with old shoes? Give them some new shoes. He went in there, give them new shoes, and we got the guys to come up outside and scuff up the shoes so they couldn't put it back in the box. We played with policemen, and they said, we really like you guys. We really want to work with you guys. So what we've got an idea. And they always say, so what we've got, which is really funny, we want you to put Rasta wigs on and go to country fairs and just be disruptive.
They moved the goalpost, and we were young, but I had a serious job. He had a serious job. I couldn't do them kind of things.
And we had family and friends who would hold us to task as well.
But they would have been, and plus, as I said, because we were working, we could kind of knock it back. And maybe if we hadn't knocked it back, you wouldn't be able to have this interview now, you know.
Yeah, we know.
No, you'd still get the interview. We would have still get the interview.
Would have gone on speech.
We'd have went.
Yeah, Rudi, wow, hey, how you get my personal? You
Someone says, how or what has kept your bond? I think we started off as kind of, it was almost kind of combative. We were like running one another, and then we kind of joined forces. I just think we've just together we've done so much together that is impactful on our life. If we look back at our lives, entwined in our lives, you know, we performed to 10,000 people at the Leeds Carnival. You know, we were there. We wrote adverts for Pink Lady, and we did a pantomime. 28,000 people turned up to see it the first time. I think 29,000 the second time we did it. So we've done. There's so much that we've done within our life. So when you look back at your own history, whatever happens, I could see him. There.
Yeah, we're genuine.
We holiday as a family together,
genuine friends. Before all of this, all of it, you know what I mean? So we were friends before, and we were genuine friends. And it just so happened that as we started this journey as friends, we, like anyone else, I remember one time, Jim Jeffries was on.
But there's friends, yeah? There's friends, and there's friends.
No, that's the pantomime. That's the pantomime.
No. But then, Rudi, it wasn't mad like that. Hey, you see that time when we did the pantomime? That was my skin has ever been. Oh Lord, a woman called Sherry. I can't remember her surname, but she's a beautician and lifestylist now. And that she put on the translucent. She cleansed my face every day when I was and to make me look like Whitney Houston. That's right. I was ugly.
Okay.
And she proper. She set up my wig nice. Yeah, I was in touch
He actually took it too seriously. So the woman who did my makeup, I think she was used to doing trannies. So the eyelashes they put on you, she didn't take it off properly. So when we finished the show, when I was getting a facial, there was still glue. So I've got to tell you a joke. So we when we was doing the pantomime, we came in to the theatre, and one of the people who was like stagehands, he was saying, he was outside and he heard these two guys, young guys, were dissing one another. And one of them said, he pointed to me and he goes, "Yeah, that's your girl." Do you know what I mean?
Because that's you guys on the Crystal Road show, isn't it?
Yeah.
That was hype for the pantomime. Yo, Sinners, Kenny Potter. And we had T Ethnic on that, and obviously, and
Angeli,
and
there's Miles, there's
Verna,
Andy,
and Miles, and
Verna. Whatever happened to Verna? What happened to Verna? I mean,
she still sings. She does session singing, and she still sings and stuff. Fantastic voice, beautiful voice, beautiful voice. And she still played
the hell out of the Prince in the pantomime.
And it was the first time he had a little bit of thing in the press, I think, because it was an all-black cast. And
but there's also the other story behind this, which is that you lot actually broke the box office for what borough council was it? Southwark. Was it
Southwark? Yeah,
it was Southwark, because at the time when you lot was going to the Civic, they never had no box office for, because you started to move towards it about black people turning up late.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden all this Russia money would come in, and they never had an accounting system to cater for that. So the Civic Centre had to build a box office to accommodate what you lot had done. Yeah,
but like I said, but we didn't get caught up in the hype of it, Rudy. You understand? We just did what we did, and when we did the pantomime was nice because it was we especially the weekends and leading up to the weekend, we had to do matinee shows for the youngsters and for the schools, which were more intensive and the like. And then on one occasion, I think they had when we went to Empire at Shepherd's Bush, they asked for a midnight show, an adults only show.
Right.
And in that show, you go a little bit off script and you use the props and stuff. And Dale doesn't drink, and we put real alcohol in his drink.
So like in a tradition when you got the last show,
his head started wobbling. I
had a huge head growing up. My nickname was Big Head when I was growing up. They didn't even try to style it. They just said, "Yeah, Big Head." Yeah.
I like the way that you guys just chill out. To be honest with you, I like the way that you just chill out at the back. I mean, it shows that there's a genuine friendship there.
Yeah, listen, sometimes our friendship is like has lasted longer than some marriages, they say. And there was a stage when we have our arguments. Trust me, people that know us know that although we're compatible, we're different personalities as such. And
it must be the haircut, though, isn't it? That's what it must be. It must be.
Sweet.
So I was 21 in that photograph.
He was sweet and like himself.
No. I was just a quietly spoken. It's that photograph. I just look like someone said I look like a gulum.
So you.
But look what's happened though. Look what's happened as you started.
So a good thing with that magazine, when we did the front cover for that magazine, the biggest ever it sold out. That was the biggest ever count they did on that magazine when we did that magazine cover for Art Rage.
That was during that week though, isn't it? Because obviously after that, sales started to go through the roof. No, that's just me being bitter. That's just me.
So I'll let you into a secret, Rudy. Yeah. So when we used to host the cabaret, Mars would give us a set list. So we would write our material based on the act. And when you first started, when you first used to come out, and we used to write 2 pieces for you. We'd write a set. If you stormed it, we'd write a bacchanal to you. And if you didn't do well, we had a piece for that. I remember one of the jokes. We set you up. We go, this next guy's coming up is Rudy. He's a good friend of ours, bona fide. He hangs out with us all the time. He's a big up, he's a good friend of ours, good homie. I mean, we hang out, we go out everywhere with this guy. Here for Rudy, and he didn't do so well, unfortunately. And we said he's a good friend. He's not really a good friend. We're not really a naughty friend. In fact, Rudy stuck one of us, and you were standing there going, "I'm gonna kill you guys." But again, as we'd had a conversation previous where you said that because a lot of the different types of comedy was set out, so you was trying to find your way to sit in, and that's when you said I'm going to do this in another audience altogether, because you said you just found where everybody.
Yeah, I just could not fit into the environment that had been created, and I didn't want to go. I didn't want to lean towards what everybody else was doing. I really didn't, and it was necessary.
And you have to be able to deliver what everybody else is doing, and if you can't do that with any conviction, it's not worth doing. And you'll get found out if you don't. If you're not true to yourself.
I think, Rudy, when you came, you was a part of the initial next crop of comedians who was prepared to change and touch those subject matters. Do you know what I mean? That the black audience as such weren't quite ready for.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Come out and start hit people. People was laughing hard, but they thought, I shouldn't be really laughing at this, you know.
Yeah.
But that's what it took, and you know, you was knocking at the door. So a lot of the guys that are touching subjects now, and can do so comfortably, it's because your string and the rest that came through behind you started to knock.
The path had been laid out. They're not cutting down.
Touching those subjects.
They're not with a cut that's cutting a path through the jungle. That path had been flattened. They're just following it.
Well, I mean, as elders in the circuit, we can see that. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The amount of times that you sit down there and you see somebody killing it and you think, but that premise was done, dusted, and 10, 15 years ago. Do you know what I mean? But it sounds fresh to everybody now.
Yeah.
And it's like, for example, there's no point in going and talking about going to the club for the first time, especially at the age of 57. It may be ridiculous for me to talk about that. Do you know what I mean? I got to start talking about, you know what I mean, Brewer's Droop. I got to start talking about, you know what I mean, menopause. I got to start talking about paying the bills. No, the fact that we're on the other end of it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? The fan that goes off all the time. You know, the women are waving the fans in your face and all them thing there. That's what we're experiencing now.
We're working towards our show to we're the big people and talking about it from our perspective. We're in our 50s now.
Right.
In our mid 50s. I just realized I'm 57, I think. 57 this year. And all of a sudden,
I remember when I turned 20, he couldn't stop laughing because he was still a teenager. He was 18 and he couldn't. I remember when I was 20, he was just looking at me and laughing because I had left the teen world.
Okay.
I'm now 20. He just thought that was hilarious. But I'm looking around in this. I was looking around in this race of life. Who's over my shoulder?
I did the same thing when I was 30. As soon as I hit 40, he started me. How old are you? When I reached 50, I think he didn't stop asking me until I was 51. How old are you?
That's right.
That's
right. That race.
Rudy used to sweet me. Do you understand?
But when I was hit 30, he just thought that was hilarious. How old are you?
I'm 28.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta let you guys know we've only got about 5 minutes left with these gentlemen. Okay, we've done over an hour. As we can see, we've done nearly an hour and 22 minutes, and you know I like to do an hour. But if there is anything that you'd like to ask, Natasha and Julie, thanks for the questions that's been coming through so far. Cosmo has got a question for you.
He's angling again.
You see?
I don't trust that boy.
Cosmo has asked, can I answer this one, Emil? Can I answer this one? Cosmo, we would do another stage play, only if you're not writing the screenplay.
Okay.
Yes, we would.
Yes, we would.
But proviso that you're not doing the screenplay.
You're not doing the screenplay, we'll do that.
You can be involved in the production, the whole chinchillada.
No, he could be involved in the finance. Get it right.
Yeah, get him involved in the marketing.
And
marketing has changed, hasn't it, from the days of the league?
You have to find a 16-year-old to do the marketing for you now, because that's their thing. They get the amount of hits on, I don't know, with half these things.
I mean, what was it like when you guys were marketing? What was it like?
The rule was 10 strategically given out flyers to one person turning up at your venue. So if you wanted 1,200 people, you had to print 12,000 flyers and strategically give them out. You give them to people likely to come to see you. You can't just randomly hand them out. It's got to be strategically given out.
And pirate stations.
With pirate station adverts.
Mystery, Daddy Ernie, all those
interviews on the whatever the top shows are at the time.
All those guys had a hand in getting our stuff out there. And Mystery, we had a weekend at Granaries, playing in the piano bar in the middle of a rave. Do you know what I mean? Those guys, they saw it, and we props them all the time.
So that's Daddy Ernie and that's Mystery.
Not Daddy Ernie, Mystery. Well, all the DJs. DJ Keatley, DJ Keatley getting us down to Oasis.
Yeah.
You know, those were. I've got to thank all the DJs because again, it was probably Daddy Ernie and Mystery who put their head above the parapet and says, "In my dance, I'm going to have people talking." Mm-hmm. You know, so
that's a big move. That's a big move.
That was a big move, especially when you're going to stop the dancing, turn on the light, so it's not theatre light, it's light, so you can see everybody's facial expression.
You're going to have two comedians, and you this girl, and you look like you're going to get through, and then you have
and these guys are upsetting that whole thing. It wasn't straightforward. So you had to kind of learn to hit whatever point is going to be interesting that they're going to listen to. So I always remember we did Podium and we was kind of analysing our set on the way home, and Emil pointed out when we first started talking, people were talking, you can hear talking, and as we went on our set, it got quiet and quiet, and there was one point where it was actually scary because you could hear in between our breaks, it was silent, and Emil goes, "Did you hear that sound?" I goes, "Yeah, man, it was scary." But
I mean, you got them. As a comic, that's frightening because where's that laughter, where's that bubble underneath?
It was really refreshing when we stepped over to the alternative, the White Club, the Jonglers, and the like, and
off the curb stuff,
up the curb, just comedy. Do you know what I mean? And invariably, we were the only black act on the show, and invariably, we're the only double act on the show, which made it even more interesting. And it was really good, giving them an insight into how we can deliver some of the stuff that they found equally as interesting.
Yes, we do corporate and we do alternative corporate. We do. There's like housing associations up in places like up north. There's housing called like Black Housing Corporation. Just answering the question, we do both sides of that. But as Rudi would tell you, corporate gives it interesting because, again.
Well, one time we got a script. They said, "Okay, no swearing, no sexism,
no sexism, no ethnic jokes, no racist jokes, no this joke." So our first joke was not a good joke.
I always broke them. I broke all them rules because
no, we broke that in our first joke. We broke every single faux pas.
Broke all them rules there and the worst thing about it is that if you don't break the rules, they're waiting for you to break the rules. The audience, not the person who's paying you the money. Not the person who's paying you the money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the thing is, you could start out on showing the audience what they say you can and can't talk about.
Yeah. We'd come with the script. We'd read it out. We'd say, "Okay."
They said, "I can't talk about." What do you not think about that then?
No, we do the first thing that breaks every one of those rules, and people, that's what they want anyway. In that sense.
But isn't that the role of a comic to take it to that line?
Again, but
represent what people would like to have said or would like to be. You understand what I mean?
And to know a lot of people think that same way. But it's us two, obviously we could sit down and laugh at each other because we're easily pleased and laugh at each other's things. But then to go out and tell the story and share the story and join and get the audience to join as if they're the and in Jefferson and Whitfield makes it nice. And it's a Rudi, it's a good buzz. You can't. It's a nice buzz. But when it doesn't work, oh Lord, it can be a lot.
One of the things you haven't spoken.
That's why it can be long. Depending on your 40, there's a bit where there's no lights,
I tell you, man, sometimes like a minute could feel like an hour.
Oh yeah.
So
like an hour.
What the first time we did an alternate serve, I don't know if you remember this, was in Norwood, Emil, and we did a show, and what we tried to do was to change us and try and preempt what we think they would do before we realised, no, we can still be who we are. And remember, the people were sitting on the floor. Do you remember the gig? They sitting on the floor, and we went to our room.
Hug the trees and that kind of thing.
The hug the trees. We finished our set, went to the room, we got changed, and there was an exit door in the dressing room. Just went into our car, went home. I remember that. But one of the things you haven't spoke about is one of the things that we did that we're kind of pleased about is that we did give back. We ran workshops in London, Birmingham. We did that in Nottingham, you know, and we had, you know, I suppose our most famous student is Gina Yashari, who came out from our workshop that I think we ran over 6 weeks.
When she came in, she was really, really good. We split into groups. We had Gina in my group. She was really talented. And then we did The Wiz, the pantomime The Wiz. And she played a lead role in that as well. And she's good, you know, and there's Glaz and the like. And
I'm glad you mentioned Glaz. I'm glad you mentioned Glaz.
Yeah. The Duchess, what was it called still? The Duchess again? Glenda Jackson came from our workshop.
Glaz had he's from up north.
Yeah.
And a warm northern accent, a warm one.
Yeah.
Really,
yeah. I actually want to bring Glaz onto the platform pretty soon. Because that people get to. There's people who know Glaz, and then there's a lot of people who would be surprised the moment he opens his mouth. You know.
Yeah. Really nice. So and we did the workshops, and then we did a workshop in Birmingham, Nottingham for a period, and as a result, then we showcased those comedians,
those acts,
those acts, and then we did, and then as a result of that, we ended up doing a show up there, and we even did a show. Workshop for Seventh-day Adventist Church, and then we did. We showcased those.
That in Birmingham, yeah. So no, we kind of put back in a sense, and those things are kind of a level of commitment because you're talking you have to go out and spend a whole day, to try and get everything in, you know, in a whole day over 6 week period, and then 3 days shows after.
How did you lot deal with the guys who just don't got it?
How do you mean?
Come on, man. You know exactly what I mean. There's men who will get up and you know.
Because we only ask them to do between 3 and 5 minutes.
One of us will tell them that they're missing. One of the two of us. It's up to who to guess which of the two of us will tell.
So what Emil did, he strategically, I came in and I found that man sitting in my group. And I think that's what happened. I had Gina and he had that guy. And next minute, he swapped them over. Ended up having. With those people, again, we'd help them write their set. You'd help them write their set. So I'll tell you who we had in our class who didn't get it. Errol Christie, the boxer.
Oh, yeah, but Errol still went on to do.
Errol did his. Yeah, he ended up to doing it, but I think he was working the market at the time, so he was getting up early in the morning to do the market and then come to do the show at the end of the day. But I mean on the weekend. But Errol Christie went on to do his after dinner speaking and that lot on the back of doing our workshop.
Okay. The other area that we haven't really touched is the advertising.
We wrote adverts for Pink.
That you wrote and stuff like that. Pink Lady,
Mr. Magic, shaving cream and powder. I always remember that.
When Tesco's first started to do West Indian food or New World food, or whatever they call it, we did the adverts and stuff. And those are really good. I mean, and some of those, the money that you make doing those voiceovers and stuff is amazing in a short space of time.
I think if anybody knows better than anybody, believe it or not, it's Junior.
And the other thing is,
we know Junior from he used to sing with Kojic Choir.
Yeah, he did.
In fact, I know Junior's brother, who used to be in the Black Theatre Cooperative.
That's right.
He died in a car accident.
And I used to know a brother named Beswick, and we used to go to the Black Theatre Cooperative. That's them guys with Tommy. I think you had him on your show a little while back.
Oh, Chris Tummins.
Yeah, Tummins.
Yeah, because it was through Junior. We're referring to Junior Simpson, by the way. It was through Junior Simpson's brother that the posse and everybody formed.
That's right. Yeah, Kevin.
Kevin came together. But Junior Simpson also did his own show on After Dark on Channel 5, which a lot of people are not really au fait with. Was that he actually had a show before Richard Blackwood.
Yeah, and Junior, to be fair, was out there when we started on the circuit. Junior was out there, and Junior's been doing it and been gigging like a Trojan, and it looked like obviously that was his job because he was all over the shop.
Yeah, he was 100. He was 100. He was
100 in.
Yeah. But before we close, because we must close or we'll go on forever, I think we should talk about this man here,
John Simmet.
John Simmet, one of the hardest working men in comedy.
Very nice. You know, again, he just took to us, and we were like brothers. In fact, he took us up to Birmingham, and other than myself, he introduced me to a guy called Emil, who was the only other person I knew as a black man named was Emil. But yeah, John
Simmet.
Yeah,
because he paved the national circuit. He paved the way for the theatre.
Yeah,
I couldn't understand how he would get theatres round the corner from where I live, and I live in London, and he live in Birmingham. Do you know what I mean? He worked.
The Birmingham Theatre, Alexander.
And he
Theatre.
doesn't drive.
Yeah,
no,
he doesn't drive.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah,
he's all over the place.
He's good on the phone. He's really good. He's really
yeah.
good on the phone. So
he came to the drum, didn't he? So
yeah.
Very
this is the very last question. I've left it up on the screen. Let me see. Would you guys consider doing a set for our next 24-hour? Whoa. No. Yeah. This is a question here from Claire Tong.
Oh, do you both celebrate Valentine's Day? Well, every day is Valentine's.
We're not together like that.
And what did you spend?
Every day is Valentine's Day.
You see.
So, like we said, like we'd say, women are not just for Christmas; they're for at least Boxing Day, and there you go. You know what I mean? Joking.
Okay. Love or not?
You see, he ain't saying nothing there because you probably got your missus standing over you.
Oh, Deborah, big shout.
Big shout out. What's that, Debbie Taylor?
Yeah, Deborah Taylor.
Yeah. Hailing all the way from
Jamaica.
Okay, before we go, we'll just tell the story of why Dale's Facebook.
So
why Dale's Facebook has got no face on it.
Because I watched Game of Thrones and I've become the many-faced man. So you know the many-faced man? So I don't put one on there.
This is what happens, ladies and gentlemen, when you reach a certain level of acceptance. You get stalkers. And this man was stalked. This man was actually stalked. And because he was stalked, he's taken his picture off his
Yeah, he was still. It was a very sad one. A real life horror movie type stalking.
It was the kind of Play Misty for me stalker.
Yeah. It was Play Misty for me.
Play Misty for me. Again, that's a reference only big people will know.
Yeah, but then we're all big people in it. That's the thing about. This is what I love about. This is what I love about my platform. We're all big people in it. They'll get your innuendos. They'll get any little slight turn of phrase. You know what I mean? It's like. Them is oil broom, them sweep the corners. You understand?
Yeah, keep it clean.
Them sweep corners in that stuff.
So a story about Debbie Taylor. Can I tell you my story?
Yeah.
So she'd booked us to do a show in. She booked us to do a show in. I think we're doing a show in Leeds, and you know when you put roll on, it sometimes dries white. And the roll-on was just white around her armpit, and I said to him, "Tell your friend her armpit's looking white." She's going, "Oh, thanks, good job, Dale. Could we never go and wash it off before Dale sees?" And he tilted his head. She went, "No." Do you remember that?
I don't, but then just to say that's the kind of thing. Dale is not the person you want to see that kind of thing, because he will just blaze out.
Yeah.
No, but that's why I like his comedic style. To be honest with you, you don't let nothing go. You don't
let it go. And that's the thing.
You don't let it go, man. He's like a terrier trying to get a tennis ball underneath the couch.
Yeah. His head's too big to get under the couch. He's too big for it.
Oh my God. I like that one. You said that your head's too big to get underneath the couch. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's a reason why he said that.
How long it took me to walk. I couldn't balance. My head was just nodding. So look at that one. Look. Look.
Oh God. But gentlemen, much respect and much love.
No, I appreciate you having us on. I really appreciate that.
Good work. What you're doing.
You know, I've got total admiration for what you do. You know what I mean? And I'm hoping that at some point you will take time out to come and visit us on some of the other platforms. The Saturday morning when you're not playing football, Emil, Dale. You know what I mean?
I did the Saturday morning thing with you,
but Dale. I mean, Emil was.
I was repping.
Refereeing that day.
No problem. You'll find me, man. You'll find me.
You know what I mean? And then we've got the Wednesday shows as well, where you get big people question getting posed at you. You know what I mean? It'd be lovely.
We did a hen night once. It was in a room. There was about 15 of them, and we said, ladies, we're here. We're the only two men in the room. It's a hen night. Please feel free to ask us any question you would always wanted to ask a man. But well,
who tell us say that?
Did you hear the Trini come out just now? Did you hear the Trini just now come out?
First of all, I said I can't believe the woman asking me them kind of questions. Why? But because we started off giving it large, and I think the reason we did that, they put it on us.
They put it on us, and we were young-ish, but old enough to know not to be asking them kind of questions. And the women, they were just straight to it, bang, 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 some hardcore questions that it was gone. It was good. Again, real good fun, really nice. We ended up doing the wedding, didn't we? We ended up hosting the wedding.
Yeah,
doing the wedding. And that was because they wanted the other two, and they couldn't get them.
Yes.
Oh,
you remember that? I remember that.
Curtis and Ishmael.
Yeah.
Well, there's always going to be. You know what? I find there's always going to be a battle like that going on. I mean, every time I used to go up for roles on TV, it was either Richard Blackwood or Curtis Walker I was up against. Do you know what I mean? And that's just the game, isn't it? I mean, for you guys,
because there's not enough stuff for us to say that could satisfy. Do you know what I mean? There's not enough shows on there, and even when we did that show, they edited us to make us come over a little bit more militant than we were. They asked us to do a specific time. Our set was down to the T at the time, and they still cut it to make us come over, like cut out a bit that made sense.
That's part of it. It's an old set, but look at that. It's still prevalent to today.
Right. Yeah, it is.
The sentiment is still very much up to today.
And then I've always felt that the comics were satirists within their own right, and you know, it takes an intelligent fool to make a decent joke.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's a compliment.
Yeah.
But yes, it's prevalent today, and it's crazy that it's still going on, and even going on back to black and white TV and drawings and paintings. It's still going on. But if you could make someone laugh along the way and smile, then it's good. And get paid, that's even better. Boy, that's when he was carrying the swing. That was
ladies and gentlemen, on that note, we will be talking all night, and I don't really want to take up more of these guys' time.
No, thank you for having me.
Really have to. So thanks, guys. Don't run away yet. I'm just running a promo. Bye, guys.
Rudi.
Good morning. I've been leaving these video clips at the end of my day, but this morning I thought I would share this little bit with you, which was inspired because of something a friend of mine said to me this morning. And that is, you are the creator of your life. So begin by intentionally creating your day. You're responsible for the results you intend. No excuses. Have an amazing day. I'll talk to you later.